Mr. DeYoung,
Here.
Mr. Kometz,
Here.
Mr. Moran,
Here.
Mr. Paradiso,
Here.
Mr. Genowick,
Here.
Chief Flores,
Here.
Chief Willman,
Here.
Town Manager Craig Phillips is absent this evening. Michael Schilling, the Town Council Liaison, is absent this evening. Safety Board Attorney Adam Decker.
Present.
Okay, have a motion to approve the minutes of June 15th, 2020 meeting.
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Mr. Paraducci, and a second.
Second.
Mr. Kametz, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Monthly reports, Chief Willman.
During the month of June 2020, the St. John Fire Department responded to a total of 143 requests for assistance. There were 113 calls in our incorporated areas of St. John, 20 which is in the unincorporated limits of St. John Township under contract with the Township Trustee. There were 10 calls in District 3, which is all other destinations, including mutual aid. Our mutual aid responsibilities this month were Cherville Fire, Lake Hills Fire, and Dyer. The Monday night activities for the fire department during June 2020 included June 1st was our monthly business meeting for the volunteer division of the fire department. June 8th was the department's first opportunity to safely return to organized group trainings. The members that were able to attend went to the training site and participated in hands-on review of operations associated with handling fire hose, hose lays, and the most effective hose streams that apply to various conditions created by the fire that needs to be contained or extinguished. June 15th was an EMS skills night that also included a lecture on warm weather emergencies and challenges. June 22nd was a scheduled work night to catch up on our normal summertime schedule that we had to postpone due to the restrictions of the pandemic. June 29th was the classroom portion of the annual emergency vehicle operations course. The practical driving part of the class will come later in July. Then for a quick EMS, we had a total number of patient contacts of 114. Transports were 64%, refusals 23%. Our ALS to BLS ratio, we had 85% ALS and 12% BLS. Resident ratio was 74% residents, 26% non-residents. A breakdown of our response times, 7 a.m. until midnight was 88% of our responsibility calls, and from midnight till 7 was 12%. Thank you.
Is that it? Chief Flores.
From June 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2020, the members of the St. John Police Department logged 21,477 miles and responded to 716 law incidents. The investigation of these incidents led to 16 arrests, with 28 charges being filed. There were 183 traffic citations issued, along with 183 written warnings, for a total of 366 citations being issued during the month. Vehicle thefts totaled $0. Other thefts totaled $31,050. Recovered property totaled $0. That's it.
That's it? Okay, new business, Chief Willman.
Okay, under new business, I have 5 items here I'd like to talk about. Request to consider a part-time firefighter paramedic Ronald Sweats. Request to hire Ronald Sweats to become a part-time firefighter paramedic for the St. John Fire Department. Mr. Sweats is a resident of St. John. He has been a paramedic in Illinois for 25 years. He has also been a certified firefighter in Illinois for 30 years. He is currently an active reserve police officer in the St. John town. He has held that position since November of 2011. He is currently sponsored by St. Mary's EMS System in Hobart. St. John must agree to sponsor him to practice in the Franciscan Health Crown Point system before they were offered testing requirements he will need to qualify. St. John will not be able to hire him unless he successfully qualifies in Crown Point. This guy's a good guy. He's worked side by side with us for a long time, not in the fire department, but with the police department. He was not always a resident here and stuff, but now that he is and has expressed a desire to work with us, I'd like to have your consideration for him to go part-time. One more request for a part-time EMT. His name is Mark Olson. Request to hire or really rehire Mark Olson to become a part-time firefighter EMT for the St. John Fire Department. Mark has been a certified firefighter since 1994. When he began as a firefighter at Lakes of Four Seasons, Mark moved to St. John in 2004 and joined the St. John Fire Department shortly afterward. He has been an EMT since 2006 and was hired by our town as a part-time firefighter EMT in 2007. He is still active after raising his family, and I feel we could benefit greatly by offering to share his energy and expertise with our department and the public that we serve. He got away from for a while. He has a very high position, or maintains a high position at Ford in the Heights, and now his family is raised, and he came back and asked if he could go back on. He was a firefighter EMT before, and I would like to have your consideration there also. Okay, I'm sorry.
We're supposed to, we got 2 requests for motions.
Well, that's what I was just gonna say. First of all, does anybody have any questions or anything? And then, okay, then I guess the first one will be a request to consider the part-time firefighter paramedic hiring Ronald Swets.
Right.
Have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we,
Mr.
Consider 'em.
Paradiso, have a second?
Second.
Mr. Moran, all in favor?
aye.
Aye.
No opposed? Motion carried. And then the second motion would be a request to consider part-time firefighter EMT Mark Olson. Have a motion for that? Mr. DeYoung, have a second?
Second.
Mr. Kemetz, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Chief?
Okay, excuse me, I didn't know if you wanted to go through them all and then go back or what. I'm sorry, I could have waited. Okay, an update on the request to purchase the new cardiac monitor. At the June 15th, 2020 Safety Board meeting, a motion was made to approve the purchase of the new LifePak 15 monitor defibrillator. The recommendation included a request to include a sole source provider statement with the proposal and request to purchase when it is sent to the St. John Town Council for final approval. I have delivered the request to purchase to the clerk, and then it goes to the council, and included the sole source provider document as requested. So when I turned in the request, it also included a sole source provider, and that was what you requested, and that's what I did. So I'm hoping that we'll get approval. I think they have a meeting in a couple days now this week, I think, I'm not sure, but I went with what you requested. I have made further contact with fire service. This is in regards to the new skid for the brush truck, and have decided that I would follow the motion made by Mr. Moran with a second by Mr. Kometz to recommend purchase of the new replacement skid for the brush truck as stated by Mr. Janwick for $16,615. And I don't know if I need to read it, but that was in the minutes. Mr. Janwick entertained a motion to recommend the purchase of the new replacement skid for the brush truck at $16,650. Mr. Moran made a motion to recommend purchase as stated to the town council. Mr. Kometz seconded the motion. Motion carried by a roll call vote. That was in the minutes, so I thought that was a fair way to go on that. And finally, let's see. Okay, the new hire process. I have reached out to Attorney Decker for his expertise and guidance regarding establishing a more formal, disciplined, systematic, and most certainly legal process for establishing an updated eligibility list for hiring qualified candidates for a full-time position as firefighter paramedic. I know that's one big long sentence, but that's how I felt was the right way to go. I had, Adam sent me an excerpt, it's a long one, I'm not gonna read the whole thing, from the current personnel policy that we have. And quite honestly, it does not mirror anything I've been doing for the last over 20 years. It starts out with, and it ties the town manager almost exclusively to this process, and so I would like to just establish a new one that would be in place with what we have been doing, and then give it to the commission to see if they will agree with that, because some of this, this is good, but it's not how we've been doing it for almost 20 years. It starts out with a 5-day notice to hire, and then you offer it to someone in the town, if someone in the town is interested and all. And I know that's how they did it when I first came, but I know I never did it that way. So my questions really last month was not the procedure as much as it was as far as the interviews and stuff. Since we've never had a commission before, and the police department has had one, and I know they've interacted quite well, I didn't know if you wanted to get involved with the interviews and things like that. That's really what my questions were, but I think probably this is the best thing to go on with Adam's help. I appreciate your answer, Adam. It was at 6:54 in the morning, but that was okay. Anyway, I would like to proceed with creating a new one, more current, more equitable, definitely legal, and all the rest, and put this to rest and bring it up to something for the future. So that's basically what my request is going to be. As far as the current list, it is not totally exhausted. Let's see, I hope I have it here someplace. There are still at least 2 that have gotten their paramedic since then, because I know one of the main concerns was not to eliminate the resources before the years were up. However, we never did actually post it. We never did actually identify a length of time. I know it's here someplace, I'll pull it up. But anyway, I have reviewed that. I am in a position that's somewhat awkward, because I've been notified by a couple of our employees over there that they are actively searching to go to another department, and that would put us in a very short-handed setup, and that's why I think we need to go with one anyway, but I think we need to revamp it, get it right, so that everybody agrees with it, and keep going. So that's where we are. But I do have, there's 3 on that list yet that I think could qualify and could stay on there. I talked to one of them, and he said, one of them said he was interested, so I didn't include those, but there were others that said they still were, and so that's what I don't think we would be in a big trick bag, but I'd like to get this switched around and get it in line and include the commission if they want to be included with it. I think that'd be the best way to go.
Did I misunderstand you? You say that the current list was never posted or anything?
Never posted it?
Was anybody hired off of it?
Yeah.
Well, I guess in some respect it would qualify it as a valid list, posted or not. And we don't know when that list expires or anything?
We did not put an expiration date on it. Here it is, right here, okay. We started hiring December 21st, we hired Van Kuiken. Then the next guy down temporarily withdrew his application because he couldn't pass the physical. The next one down had already accepted a job someplace else. The next one down was offered a position on December 23rd. The list was created by October. Then we had one that has never taken a test, one that took a test, but he had grief with his other fire department decided not to quit. He's from Fort Worth, so he didn't come on. Then there's 3 more left. 2 of the 3 have passed their paramedics since then. These last 5 were only EMTs. So they have since then passed, and then there's 1 more that anticipates taking it. But we never officially posted it, we never officially put a date on it. So that's the way it was.
So the list, the list, when it came out, there was.
You just didn't put a date of expiration on it, right?
Right.
it
Well,
wouldn't-
yeah, we posted it, I mean, here it is.
No, I mean, was it posted, I'm really confused on what you just told me. So you posted the list?
Oh, they never posted.
We
or you
create,
never-
no, we
You created one,
create,
but you never posted
it
it.
was never officially posted. Like, I know when the police department does it, they post it in the lobby and all that kind of stuff. We started with the list.
But when I'm saying, when was that test? Was there a test given to? and-
There was, they had to have the physical agility test, but the written test, I have records for all that, I just didn't bring it, okay? The written test, and then there was verbal tests, and at the verbal test, I didn't do the verbal test, the 3 battalion chiefs did the verbal test, and at that point, they listed the order of hiring, and then that's when we started making offers.
When was the test, though? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
The one page was October 30th, I had the list created. So it was some short time after October 30th, by the time we got the test, got them in and got them all scheduled.
2019.
Was 19?
2019.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
I don't,
But there's no it's never been posted, and there's no expiration date on it?
No,
So this was just your internal list?
right.
I don't know,
I think
Mike.
the only fair way to go about it is to at least offer anyone on that list a position that had tested for the position. And if they either accept or decline, or you exhaust that list, and that list is exhausted, then establish a new
That's
list.
what I was gonna suggest tonight, but I didn't know if I should be suggesting things I was.
I also think that before we go into a hiring process, I just want to go on record to say there has to be a formal process established. Right now, we have a personnel policy conflicting what you said that you're doing as the chief versus what, before we do anything more, my opinion is we have to establish a formal process of what's going to be followed from this point forward, and not just do what this one wants, or who wants, or however it works, or who wants to be involved and who doesn't. I think it needs to be formalized before we move forward, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, if Adam would know if there's a state law on procedures and tests, there's no state law on hiring and
No,
procedures?
Mr. Chairman, it would not apply to the town Board of Safety in St. John. There may be for cities, larger cities, but I don't believe there's any constraints at this point regarding the hiring of paramedics and firefighters, or this internal list that Chief Willman has referred to.
So, well, I agree with Mr. DeYoung. Somewhere we have to eliminate these conflicts and come up with a set procedure and have an organized, program.
Well, I don't argue with you, but it's different now, like, our new town manager, this in here would say that would go to the town manager, but before, when I said it's time to hire, the town manager took it over and said, all right, you put it together, You get the list, you make sure everything's right, then you make the recommendations to me, and then I take it to the council. This isn't something that I dreamed up. I know I've been around here for 25 years as the chief, but what I'm saying is, that was how I was to do it then, and that's how I did it. And I'm not knocking anything. I don't think it's been a bad ride or anything else. But now that there's a commission involved and there's room for more strict regulations, and I have some support, I could have said a lot of those things before, but nobody else was saying them either. So.
Right, well, and again, before we start a new process, we need to have what's gonna be done. And as far as the old list, if someone's been hired off, as far as I'm concerned, it's been posted and being used, it should be still valid to them if they meet the requirements offered to them.
Which is why last month, after the situation presented itself, I said, okay, let's take a pass till we get it done. I didn't want to push it any further, and that was it. And I checked with other departments, I checked with other towns. Nobody has the rules and regulations that we didn't have either, but evidently they had a better system than what ours was. So I'm ready and able to put together something soon.
Is there an opening right now for a full-time firefighter? Or is that
Not
in the budget?
specifically, no. There's talk about adding another one, but no, there's not. There's not an opening. The thing that, we have so many part-time people, and I still can't fill the list. That's why some people are saying, why are you going part-time? There's never been a month yet that I didn't have at least 5 or 6 changes every week. And I do the payroll, so I know. But what I'm saying is, I am hoping that we do. When we had a proposal to with the clerk and stuff, I said we needed to add at least 3 more in the next 5 years, because you can't do it all at once, and you know that anyway. But to say there's an opening right now, no. But if the council were to come up and say we're going to add 2 more guys, yeah, then there would be. You see what I'm saying? I project what I think we need to have. I don't even know that we need 3 more right now, but I think by the end of 5 years, we're going to need 3 more. And they're talking another station and all that. That's just how it goes, or how it's gone for me ever since I started by myself. So there isn't an opening that I'm looking to fill.
So how would we get around the exhausting the current list? You've already said there's.
Well, because I am quite concerned that there's going to be a couple openings in the very near future.
But you don't have commitments from, I think you said maybe 1 or 2 have made verbal that they'd
They
be
made
interested?
ovations that they've gotten offers. They're in the process of choosing whether to stay in St. John, go someplace, or take this one offer. And, they don't go up and say, well, I'm gonna quit, how that goes. So they just kind of say, well, if somebody quits, you're gonna be in trouble. And after 4 or 5 people say that to me 4 or 5 times a day, I think they're kind of letting me down easy.
So at what point would we start the new list, or the new testing procedure, when the current list has not been exhausted? And when we start the new testing procedure, does the old list go away, or I'm real confused
Well,
on that.
the point I'm getting at is I would contact these people right now and see if they are available. They weren't available before. I couldn't have hired them before. But if they're available now, then I feel like I have a list. If a couple of them leave, I have something to do that, and then that would be it. That's what I'm saying. That was what I was gonna ask tonight, is to go ahead and, I'd like to finish the list,
But you don't
so there's
know
no problem. But I can't turn around and hire them tomorrow, but I never could before either.
So, no,
So,
it's just, like, you have 2 people that said, yeah, today I'm interested, but tomorrow they may not be interested. That's where I'm having a problem with.
are you talking about the prospective ones or my
Yeah, the
guys?
prospective ones
Well,
that are on the
That's
list.
that way anyway. I mean, they're on the list now, but
I don't know, okay.
In all fairness, you can't say anything to these people until you offer them a job. Or if you offer them a job, they either have to take it or not take it. You can ask me today, am I interested? I can't give you an answer today. You're gonna just ask me if I'm interested.
I
But
get that, I get that
It's a little different when
totally.
you say, that's why you have to maintain a list with an expiration date,
Right.
okay? It's no different than with the fire than the police department. And once that expiration date goes, everybody on that list goes back in and retests again.
Okay.
And then they get put on a new list.
So you're saying that the list should stay until it's exhausted? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not sure legally what you can do in Indiana, okay? In Illinois, every department I've known that's ever posted a list, posted one with an expiration date.
Right. Yeah, that's what, I mean, we're all from Illinois, and that's,
Well, Adam said there's no procedure to follow,
Yeah,
so,
Mr. Paradiso, there's no restriction.
right,
Then-
and
Then.
this,
you know,
this would be my thought. I believe everybody here wants to see a different testing procedure and some set dates to it and qualifications. And as far as the people who are on this list, they could just remain there and be blended into the other list. I mean, we're not here to hurt them either. They've gone through a correct and legal procedure and they meet the requirements, you know.
you can't blend them into another list, though.
Can I make
Well,
a suggestion?
Go ahead.
Is there a way that they can put a expiration date on this list, make it December 31st at the end of this year, and then start a process now for a new list to take effect January 1st, 2021, and then have a year or 2-year expiration date? Now, in the police department, do they have a 1-year or a 2-year
2-year.
expiration date?
2-year.
2-year, and that's with the state pension. A lot of this goes back to the fact that now the firemen now go into the police and fire pension where they never used to do that, you know, post this list. You know, that's only in the last year or so. So what I would like to see is this list that he has, let's get an expiration date, whether it's the end of this year or the end of October, because it was created in October, but go and set up a policy or a procedure now to get a new list by January 1st of next year to go into effect with all the regulations that you want and how we're gonna put in. The police department's doing it right now as well, so that's what I would like to see. An expiration date on this old list to expire probably at the end of this year, and then go through a process, get everything that we need to have in this new process, and start a whole fresh list come January 1st, 2021.
Yeah, well, we want to do it before that, we don't want to do it right away in October, because
No, but
if
right
two
now
of the
you-
guys, if two of the guys, you know who they are, if two of the guys quit,
But you would still use this old list
I
that's
would
gonna
still
expire
be
at the
able
end
to
of the
give this
year.
old list, I don't want to have it
We could
expire
leave
and
the
not
list
be able to go.
valid until a new list is ready to be posted and then
Yeah.
put an expiration
But this
date on
next
that
list
list.
that we
and-
have coming up, I
Right.
want to
Yeah, I
mirror
mean-
what the police department has, because that's the pension that these guys are going into. Years ago, they went in civilian perf, and how it was wrote up in the old personnel policy is, the old personnel policy, if you're going into civilian perf, you would offer it to anybody in the town first, and everybody would go to the town manager, fill out an application, everybody has equal choices. If there was nobody in town qualified for the job, then it would open up to the outside public.
I mean,
That's still,
I'd
that's
hate-
still in the new personnel policy, that's what Adam sent me the other night, this is a copy of it right here. I understand that, but we didn't.
I'm not saying you don't understand, I'm just explaining it.
Right, I mean,
You guys a little bit
and again,
as
you know, to get this together and get a test going might take some time and you.
But I'm saying, keep this old list till the end of this year.
That's, what I'm saying is.
Put an
keep-
expiration
right.
date on
You
it,
know,
December
I mean-
31st, 2020. Start the new process now, mirror it off what the police department does for this next list that takes place January 21st, or January 1st, 2021, going forward. And then it has an expiration date, of whether it's 1 year or 2 years.
I mean, another thing to consider is I only have 10 full-time people, it's not like we do hiring much here.
No, I know.
You know, and before we had 55 volunteers, so the first three, when we started out, it was me and one other guy. We're not in a hiring mode like we are now and talking about extra stations and stuff. But, you know, if I failed, then I failed, but I was just,
Oh, no, you
know,
know.
no.
There's no indication or any problem
No,
with what
no,
you've done,
that's not
Chief,
what I'm
please.
saying is, have had to be reactive to what's going on, so, to me, I thought this, when I saw that, I said, well, that'll be good for 2 years. You know, we had, what, 14 names on it or something like that, and I never expected for this to happen, but I also didn't know we were gonna have a commission and all that.
Exactly,
100%.
adjustments have to be made, and we need to,
But
Try to get
I don't
going,
want it to go on any longer, but I totally was gonna ask tonight if we could at least clean the list out, given them opportunity. If a couple of them haven't even tried to become a paramedic by now, or weren't able to, I have no control over that, But I just wanna make sure that we protect the guys that are here, and if the other guys get a better opportunity, I wish them well. They worked hard for me, so. So anyway, that's it. I wasn't gonna take all your time tonight, but I took some more, so.
Well, Mr. Decker, can we as a board, make a motion to have the list expire December 31st?
You may, yes.
Okay, is everybody in agreement with?
Make that motion and then another motion to follow as far as establishing a hiring procedure.
Okay, I'll make the motion that the current list that Chief Wellman has discussed expire December 31st of 2020.
I have a motion then to have the current hire list expire on December 31st of 2020. To have a second?
I'll second it.
That's Mr. Kametz, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Let's see, make-
And now we're
Steve
gonna
has
have a motion,
Yeah, I'm trying to word it, so. I don't even know if it has to be a motion, we could just, now we've set the list to where we want it to set. I don't know if we have to make a motion to establish hiring procedures, or if it's just a matter of coming up with a time or individuals from the commission who want to be involved to work with Chief Wellman to establish the hiring procedure mirrored off of what the police do. I don't know if that's just a discussion point, or if we gotta make a motion for that.
Mr. DeYoung, I don't believe it requires a formal motion to have those discussions with Chief Willman in formulating these policies. Eventually, I think when those policies are formulated to the point where they could be presented to the public and to the commission as a whole, at that meeting could then formally.
Make a motion to
approve or
adopt those.
adopt the
moving
list.
forward, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so then we'll just have to get with the fire chief and come up with the process.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One thing we have to go back on is the request for the new cardiac monitor. We've never said we'd approve or disapprove of his request for the,
I thought we did that last meeting, didn't we?
He did, he moved it to the town council with a
no, that was the brush truck.
request for waiver and sole proprietor.
Okay.
No, we did both.
Yeah,
Okay.
as long as it had that waiver.
Yeah, got that waiver and,
Waive competitive bidding, so that was fine.
Yeah, I gave it to her, yeah.
Chief Flores.
Okay, we have the towing proposals that we had the last meeting. There was a couple corrections that needed to be made by a couple of the firms, which were done. Mr. Decker had a chance to review all those, which complied with the ordinance and with the proposal. Is that correct, Mr. Decker?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And, Mr. Chairman, you have the proposals in front of you for your review and the board's review. I also looked over the last year-to-date, some of the towing statistics that we have. We currently, right now, have 3 tow firms, which is Kubiak's Towing, Stan's Towing, and All Pro Towing. All Pro is fairly new. For many, many years, we just had Kubiak's and St. John. Kubiak's and Stan's, and then prior to, we had St. John Auto, but they haven't been part of the towing for quite a long time. So just to kind of give you a breakdown of the tows for the year, we've had 128 total tows for the year. That's year-to-date, of an average of 18 tows per month total, and that's about 6 tows per firm per month. So it's relatively low per company. They're only getting about 6 tows a month. So once we added that third tow, the numbers obviously went down. And me personally, I think 2 tow firms is way more than enough that can cover it adequately. And we've had great luck with Kubiaks and Stans, and that's my recommendation to the board, is we just keep Kubiaks and Stans as our tow firm.
Chief, I just had a question for Kubiak, or just procedure for towing. What happens when you have a heavy-duty truck situation? Would you call stands?
Stans, yeah, they have heavy-duty wreckers, yes,
Okay.
yeah. And we've used the two of them for many years, just the two of them, and it worked out great. I mean, adding that third one, I have my personal opinions about that one, but I'll leave it at that, but, historically, we've used two for a long time, yeah. Right. So my recommendation is, like I said, Stans and Kubiaks, to keep those two.
Okay. So everyone knows I'm going to abstain from this process, have not read these procedures or the processes or proposals whatsoever. That being said, I guess I look for a motion to recommend Stans and Kubiak's towing for the chief.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion. I have a
That recommendation would go for approval to the town council, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Yes, that would go to the council.
Recommendation, we send that to the town council.
Okay, Mr. Paradisha made the motion. I have a second.
Second.
Mr. Young for a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And I'm assuming that will be at your next meeting on
Yeah, we have a
Wednesday?
meeting Wednesday, so.
Okay, so the final decision will probably be made on Wednesday at their meeting, so. Okay, thank you. Just an update on Officer Schaefer. He's out on his own now, cut loose. He's doing real well. The veteran officer, he's doing great. Did the geography pretty well. Everything else was pretty self-explanatory for him, so no issues there whatsoever. The new hire process for us, we have, let's see, this afternoon I checked it, we're about 62 applicants,
Nice.
which is pretty good. I didn't expect that much. We've gotten a lot of phone calls and inquiries. Amy's been working pretty hard, answering questions and getting information out to people, so it's pretty good. And there's a lot of names on there that I don't recognize, so it's a lot of new people, which is good. So we're at 62 so far. The agility test is still scheduled for August 8th at 8 a.m. at Clark Middle School. We'll be conducting that with some of our instructors that are instructors with our academy here for the PT exam. So you gentlemen are more than welcome to come out and check it out if you'd like to see that.
You're not gonna make me run or nothing, are you?
If you want.
No, I don't think
It's at
so.
Clark, you said, Chief?
Clark Middle School, August 8th at 8 a.m. So we'll do probably the push-ups, sit-ups, and the jump inside the gym, and then the run, obviously, will be outside on the outdoor track. So then there's a 300-meter run and a 1.5-mile run, which will be outside. So the rest of it we'll do inside. So the gym's big enough to where we can, spread out and kind of keep our distance with each other, keeping that in mind. So we're doing good. I mean, I didn't expect to get that many applicants, so, and they're still due, the our applications are still out, and they're due the 29th, so.
Chief, for my clarification, like the fire service now uses the nationally recognized CPAT for their agility, and I know some of the other police departments are using some sort of a power test. Is that included in yours, or is that? or
No,
yours
we use the
simply
Indiana
provide-
standards, yeah.
Indiana standards?
Yeah, for the law enforcement academy. Yep.
Thank you.
All right. And then, there's a recommendation of a resolution that was in here for the Police Appreciation Day, which is this Thursday, July 23rd. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with this at all. Jeff Frizel, who's lives in town, he's been doing this. He's real involved in the community. This is his 6th year, I believe, that he's been doing this. And it's just to show appreciation to police officers for the work that they do throughout the years and throughout the country and throughout this county. So he usually does this once a year. It starts off at Lake Central. It's where all the police and fire and emergency vehicles line up, and it's a parade from there to the Patrician Hall in Schererville. So he does it every year, and then at the Patrician, he has a couple guest speakers, they have live music, and they just honor and recognize certain officers, but officers at all in general. So there's police officers from all over the county there, there's officers from Illinois that show up to this event, so it's a real nice event. And this year, with everything going on, it's been a tough time to be a police officer with situations here, but, we continue to do what we do. So there's a recommendation of a resolution to the council that is in the packet as recognizing July 23rd as Police Appreciation Day. So what I'm looking for is a recommendation from you to the council to recognize that day.
Could I just make a comment, Rich? I just want to read something. As a retired police officer, I'd like to say this to the men and women in law enforcement, especially here in St. John. I know it's tough out there. Stay strong and be safe. Thank you for serving and protecting our community, and know that you are truly appreciated.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I can agree with them, and I would like to include the fire department, because they have issues sometimes when there's problems going on also.
Sure,
They're not sitting in their
absolutely.
safe little building eating dinner.
Right.
They've got work to do, and they can be quite difficult for them, yes.
And
I
that,
think
that's
also-
one thing I gotta say about this town, is we've always worked very close with the fire department. I mean, we've always had each other's backs. On calls, we're helping each other out, without even thinking twice about it.
And as we grow,
And the relationship's
gets stronger
fantastic.
even than it
Yeah.
was 10 years
So-
ago, yeah.
Yep, so thank you.
Okay, I guess at this point, then, I would take a motion to recognize July 23rd, 2020 as a Police Appreciation Day.
I'll make a motion to recommend to present Resolution 2020-07-22A to the town council.
Motion by Mr. Kamet, second.
Second?
Pat Moran, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, gentlemen. That's it.
Public comment for the record? Nobody? Motion to adjourn the meeting? Mr. DeYoung, second.
Second.
Mr. Paradiso, I think. Mr. Kamet's meeting, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried, meeting adjourned.
What's that? Oh, absolutely not. Takes a lot to excuse me. It